Indiana basketball is set to receive an official visit from a top 30 player in Junior County this weekend, and I think he's a perfect fit for Darian Devries' system.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, and it is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen or your first watch every single day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Well, we're going to talk some football later in the show, taking a small look ahead to Kennesaw State and how they almost pulled off an upset over Wake Forest in week one. Plus, Indiana drops in the AP poll. I'm not surprised, but I have some thoughts on that. But coming up this weekend, not only is it a home game for Indiana football, it's another official visit for Indiana basketball. And this time, it's top 30 player ranked number 28 in the class. His name is Junior County. He's a shooting guard in the 2026 class. He's the second ranked shooting guard in the 2026 class. And folks, I think he's a perfect fit for what Indiana and Darian Devries are going to run this year and moving forward during his time, Darian Devries, that is, his tenure in Bloomington. However long that may be, I think a guy like Junior County fits the system perfectly. And if that sounds like a familiar statement, if it sounds like something you've heard on this program before, it's because it is. And I've said it several times. Tay Kinney, perfect fit. Deron Rippey Jr., perfect fit. Junior County, perfect fit. They're good-sized guards. Junior County's 6'4", 180. Okay, he's got the size. He'll put on a little beef when he gets to college, wherever that may be. And he's going to be a really, really good player. He shoots the lights out of the basketball, off the dribble, off the bounce, in transition, off the pass, high pick and roll. Doesn't really matter. Junior County will shoot it from anywhere and has one of the better shooting strokes I've seen in the class of 2026. But he's also lightning fast. I mean, lightning fast. In transition, whether he has the basketball or he doesn't, boom, he's gone. Ball comes off the rim. You look around. He ain't there because he's gone. And he's already spotted up in an open spot, an open hole in the defense in transition. Get it to him, and he'll either rise and fire or put it on the floor and get to the rack. He can finish at the rim, and I think he finishes pretty good for a right-handed player, but he wants to shoot the basketball. He is a true shooting guard. But he can also push the break. He can also enforce the break. He can also lead the break with the basketball in his hands. And he can find the right player, make the correct play, and get some points in transition. That's what Darian Devries wants to do, folks. And you're going to see it with this Indiana team in 25 and 26. You're going to see Lamar Wilkerson and company push the basketball. And they're going to push it hard. And look, this Indiana team, they might score 90 points a game. They might give up 92, but they're going to score 90. And I've been on record as saying, man, after watching what Mike Woodson's teams went through those few years of scoring 55 points with 52 of them being in the paint and the other 3 being off of free throws and still losing the game, I'm fine if Indiana wants to score 90 points and we lose in a shootout rather than losing in just an ugly slugfest that we know we have no chance to win because there's no transition, there were no 3 points made, those types of things. I'm totally fine with an identity change for Indiana basketball. And this year is kind of a crapshoot because of all the transfer portal players. Not a single returning player will be on the floor for Indiana in 2025 and 2026. But you start talking about the future of the program, and that's where high school recruiting comes in. And that's why Junior County is such a big deal to me. Again, top 30 player, ranked 28th in the class. He's the second ranked shooting guard, according to 247. The number 1 player out of the state of Utah, which is pretty wild that Indiana was able to make some ground here. I believe we offered him back in early July, I think, maybe late June, early July is when the official offer went out to him. And the Hoosiers have been out to see him several times when they're able to. They've made good strides here. and he's on his official visit coming up this weekend on September 5th. So another home football game opportunity for a big-time basketball player and for the entire program of Indiana basketball, the university, the athletics department. You get to do what you do and put on a show. Make it incredible for Junior County, one who I think will be a really good player at the next level and just fits what Darian Devries and the staff are wanting to do. I think he is that type of player. And if you could pair him with another one of those guards that we've talked about, that's an unbelievable 1-2 punch. That's a Kentucky level 1-2 punch. That's a Kansas level 1-2 punch. I'm thinking of good guard duos in recent memory. That's what you're talking about here. Heck, UConn, if you want to go that route too. I mean, that's what you're looking for to build the future of Indiana basketball. And it's with guys that are going to run the floor, play extremely quick, and score and shoot the basketball. Also, watching Junior County on film, man, when he turns the corner, when he decides he's getting downhill, he's gone. I mean, he just, boom, it's on the floor and it's gone. Right or left-handed, whether it's off a screen or just one-on-one, he'll do a little shimmy and then he's gone in the blink of an eye. I don't know if I've ever seen somebody be able to just turn the corner, get downhill, make up their mind and execute it that fast. And that just collapses the defense and will allow you to pass it out or just lay it in, do whatever you got to do. He's a menace on the offensive end of the floor. Defensively, he's got the size. There's not a ton of just overbearing, exciting film on him defensively. A guy that you have to respect, though, just because he is 6'4", so he's got the length. And again, he is speedy, so he can get down the floor to catch up to a ball handler, or he'll stay in front of you using his size. And he probably has some room to grow there, I would say. But the offensive game is what will fit Indiana so well, and that's why the Hoosiers are putting so much in effort into this, right? So again, ranked 28th in the country, the second best shooting guard, Junior County, a 4-star, no matter where you look at it. The 5 finalists for Junior County: Indiana, Arizona, Maryland, UConn, and Purdue. I'll say that again: Indiana, Arizona, Maryland, UConn, and Purdue. And I think all 5 of those schools have made some progress with him. Of course, UConn and Dan Hurley's always going to be there. Remember, Buzz Williams is the new coach at Maryland. So you got to keep an eye out for that and see what they're able to do in recruiting. Arizona is Arizona. They're going to do what they do. And Matt Painter at Purdue recruits good guards. And if he's able to win some games and heck, even win a national title this year, their recruiting is going to skyrocket even more than it already has. So it is an uphill battle for the Hoosiers, but one that when he gets to campus, it's really simple. You put on the film of Puerto Rico and you say, hey, you see Lamar Wilkerson out there? That could be you. And hopefully that's what he watches this year. Hopefully that's what he sees. Hopefully it's, hey man, watch what we do with our guards, especially for a 2-guard like you, and how much he's going to have the basketball in his hands, how much we orchestrate the offense around one of our best scorers, one of our best shooters. And that could be you in the future. And I think that's the selling point to Junior County, who's here this weekend. September 5th is his official visit to Indiana. Home football game. You get to put all the focus on him. He's the only one that's going to be here. You have a chance to land one of the best players in the class of 2026. I think one of the best shooters in the class of 2026 as well. And 4-star shooting guard, the second-ranked shooting guard in the country, Junior County. All right, coming up here on Locked On Hoosiers, we do flip to football because Indiana somehow dropped in the AP poll after winning in week 1. I don't think I really agree with that. We'll talk about that coming up next here on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who choose to do more than simply move. They follow what moves them every time that they drive. And that's what makes Mazda stand out. They go beyond safety, style, and performance to deliver a driving experience that feels alive in every detail. Mazda offers more than just safety. It's won more 2025 IIHS Top Safety Pick awards than anyone else. That's as of August of 2025. And as an athlete focuses on every detail, Mazda does the exact same thing, from metallic accents to hand-stitched Napa leather. And whether it's a quick drive to practice or a weekend road trip, Mazda makes even everyday drives feel special. It's the small details that make the big plays. And just like that, there's more to every player. There's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Welcome back into Locked On Hoosiers. Appreciate you being here again, making this your go-to spot for all things Indiana athletics. Make sure that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Just let you notify or get notified rather when we post a new episode or when we post a bonus episode or when we go live, like we will again this Saturday afternoon after Indiana and Kennesaw State go at it on the football field. So I don't want you to miss those things. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. And then in terms of helping us grow, like the video and comment your thoughts down below. How do you feel about Junior County in recruiting this weekend? Can Indiana pick up their second verbal commit in the class of 2026 along with Prince Alexander Moody? You let me know down in the YouTube comments below. And then if you are listening on audio, make sure you subscribe over there, follow us if you can, and turn on those notifications so you don't ever miss a new episode of the podcast. All right, we move over to football. And if you remember yesterday, we talked a little bit about what the rankings in the AP poll could look like because they did, in fact, wait until the final game of college football from week one, right? TCU and North Carolina. And when we posted the episode yesterday, the newest AP rankings had not come out. Well, they have now. And I said that Indiana would probably stay right around where we were. Yeah, I was wrong. I forgot that they had to give Florida State their flowers for beating a bad Alabama team, and I forgot that they had to move some other teams around to make sure that everybody was happy. And so Indiana goes 1-0 in week one against Old Dominion, and you go down 3 spots in the AP poll. Hoosiers were 20. They're now 23 in the latest AP poll. And while I know at its core, it really doesn't matter, and I've always been a big proponent of preseason rankings really not being all that smart. They're actually kind of dumb, in my opinion, because how can you rank a team without them ever playing a game? Because clearly we were wrong about some of these teams, right? Was Alabama really the 8th best team in college football? I don't think so. Was Clemson? Well, never mind. That's a bad example. That's on me. That's a bad example. I think we're going to get burned on Miami. They're not a top 5 team. I don't think that South Carolina's a top 10 team. That's a good example. How about Notre Dame is the 9th best team in college football? That's a good example. Florida State is not the 14th best team. They look good against Alabama, but they're going to get beat somewhere down the line. I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen. How about Kansas State? That's a perfect example. They looked terrible against Iowa State and Dublin, and then they almost lost in week 2 to whatever cupcake team they played. It was like 33-30 or something like that. There's another prime example of a preseason ranking being way wrong. Really, really wrong. And so, do I really care that Indiana dropped from 20 to 23? No, because the Hoosiers didn't look great. And people just look at the score. They clearly don't look at the games because there's hundreds of AP voters. They can't watch every game and they refuse to watch every game. And all of them have some sort of tie or affiliation with a school. And so they're going to watch those and keep up with the ones that they want to. And if they cover a specific conference, the SEC, then they're not going to watch the games in the Big Ten, right? So I don't expect people on the outside to have taken a deep dive into the Indiana Old Dominion film and say, well, 27-14 was kind of a close score, but on paper, Indiana dominated. And if you watch the game or watch the film, I mean, the Hoosiers probably should have won this thing like 42-14, right? I mean, they're all right. We're not going to drop them. I don't expect anybody to do that because that would take time. That would mean they would have to actually care about their job and actually put effort into their job. And God forbid anybody do that, right? And so, Hoosiers dropped from 20 to 23. It is what it is. It wasn't a pretty week 1 win, but you're 1-0. And the fact that you do have teams above you that are 0-1 is kind of wild to me. But here's what I'll say to you Hoosiers fans. It will come with time. The rankings for Indiana will come with time. Because look at Illinois. They're the 11th ranked team in the country. No other reason than people think they're going to be good. So they were ranked high to start, and they're going to move up because they beat Western Illinois. If they go on the road and beat Duke this weekend, they'll be a top 10 team in college football. And I think they should be. I absolutely think that they should be, which will then give Indiana an opportunity to beat a top 10 team in college football when they step inside the walls of Memorial Stadium here in Bloomington. That's what I believe. And I've said that all offseason. I think that Illinois could absolutely be a top 10 team, and I think they will be when that game comes around. Indiana, you'll probably be a top 20 team. Chaos will happen somewhere. I mean, Oklahoma goes to, or excuse me, Michigan comes to Oklahoma this weekend, right? That's 15 Michigan at number 18 Oklahoma. Somebody's got to lose. Somebody's got to drop. Indiana moves up. Bada bing, bada boom. That's how this thing works. I think the Hoosiers will be a top 20 team by that point. I think Illinois will be a top 10 team by that point. I was hoping Indiana could be a top 15 team, but unless a lot of chaos just goes down, and I haven't looked at the week 3 schedule that deeply just yet in college football for Indiana to move up the rankings. Here's what I'm saying here. Indiana's not going to move up because you beat Kennesaw State and Indiana State. You're just not going to do it. The only way you move up is by default, and that's fine. You take whatever you can get until the true opportunities put themselves in front of you against Illinois, who is ranked 11th in the country. Iowa's not ranked, but I guess they could be by the time you get to that game. How about Oregon? Yeah, they're ranked 6th in the country. How about Penn State? Yep, they're ranked 2nd in the country. You've got opportunities against both of those teams. You have to win some of your games. You have to win the big ones and take control of the ones that you'll be favored in. Michigan State, UCLA, Maryland, all those teams, which, hey, Maryland looked halfway decent. Oh, Malik Murphy might just be the answer there in Maryland. Maybe they're going to save old boy's job. I doubt it, but maybe they will. I'm saying Indiana will move up when the time is right, but you're going to have some opportunities here with teams on your schedule in the AP poll. Ohio State's the number 1 team in the country. They absolutely should be. I will not listen to any arguments about LSU being the number 1 team in the country. They were ranked 7th, so we got to hold them to that, right? Got to hold them to it. They were ranked 7th in the country. No way they should jump from 7 to 1. And I totally agree. I think Ohio State is the best team in college football right now. They have the best win in college football right now. They should be the number 1 team in the country. Penn State's at 2. Oregon's at 6. Of course, talking Big Ten teams here. Illinois is at 11. Michigan is at 15. I don't know if I'm sold on the Wolverines just yet, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Bryce Underwood did look good, though. I do have to give him credit there. He did look pretty good. Indiana's at 23, and that is it for teams in the AP top 25 from the Big Ten. So I think there will be more. I think there will obviously be a ton of movement over the next several weeks. Iowa State's ranked 16th. They play Iowa this weekend, so big opportunity for the Hawkeyes. If they want to try and be a top 25 team by the time Indiana comes to town, take down top 20 Iowa State. That'd be a good way to do it if you're the Hawkeyes. And so the Big Ten's represented well. You've got the 2 top teams in college football, 3 in the top 10, and a lot more flirting to get there as well. Indiana will move up when it's time, when they earn it. And that will be against Illinois. That will be against Iowa, Oregon, and Penn State. And so don't stress out about the 23rd ranking. It doesn't matter because we got to worry about us. We got to worry about getting better, getting healthy, playing better football, winning games that we're supposed to in a more comfortable way. And I expect us to do that against the Kennesaw State Owls coming up this weekend. But what about those Owls? What are they up to? What did they do in week 1? We'll take a small little look at what Kennesaw State almost did in week 1. We talk about that coming up next. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is almost here. It's tomorrow, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. That's why I use FanDuel, man. They give great deals, awesome things you can be a part of, and it's quick, it's easy, it's user-friendly. It really is one of the best ways to go if you're looking to jump in on Thursday night football. There's Friday night football in the NFL, and then a full slate on Sunday afternoon. So use FanDuel right now. If you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app right now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com right now to place your first $5 bet. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's where Monarch Money comes in. It's an all in one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy to use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you've put off organizing your finances, Monarch is here for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. So don't let the financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's incredible, right? 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com by using the code LOCKEDONCollege. All right, final segment here on Locked On Hoosiers. Again, thank you so much for being here, making this your first listen or your first watch every single day. And we give you a small little glimpse on the Kennesaw State Owls, who Indiana will host this weekend, 12 o'clock noon Eastern time at Memorial Stadium. And we'll talk a little bit more about this team on Friday and what we really want to see from Indiana, right? Because I'll go ahead and come out and say that this game has nothing to do with Kennesaw State. It has everything to do with Indiana, right? And executing the offense a little bit better, getting to the quarterback on defense, not giving up those big plays. Right? I fully expect Indiana to look better this weekend. But it is important to look and see what Kennesaw State was up to last weekend, because they almost walked into Memorial Stadium 1-0, and they almost did it with a win over a P4 team in Wake Forest, who is not very good. Okay, they're a bad team out of the ACC with Robbie Ashford as their quarterback, who's bounced around so many colleges he can't keep track. But it was almost a win for Kennesaw State. 10-9 was the final score. Yeah, 10-9, 1 point. That's it. 10-9, 19 total points in this game, where Kennesaw State had every chance, man. They gave up a bunch of yards, 218 through the air, 130 on the ground for Wake Forest, who also didn't have a turnover. They just couldn't score. They couldn't do anything in this game. Kennesaw State, on the other hand, could move the ball a little bit. Dexter Williams, 12 of 33 through the air. That's not going to get it done. 149 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. On the ground, they had 158 yards. They ran it 43 times. So they do like to run the football, and Dexter Williams likes to run it too. He had 14 carries for 44 yards. So reason I bring that up is he's a running quarterback, and Indiana got beat on a running quarterback twice last week. So you need to know where number 5 is at all times. And Indiana has to get pressure on him using your defensive front. I don't care if you bring an extra linebacker. Get home, get to the quarterback. Don't let him do what he wants to do, but you also have to have contain as well, and don't let him run free, because he absolutely can do that. And so, again, 149 yards to the air, 158 on the ground, nothing crazy, and I'm not here to read you a bunch of stats. Here's the problem. Kennesaw State missed an extra point and a field goal in this game. I'll let you think about that for just a second. They lost 10-9 by missing an extra point and a field goal in this game. I'm not great at math, but if you make both of those, believe that is a 13-10 win for Kennesaw State, and they just missed out on it because their kicker couldn't come through. I say all of that to say Kennesaw State's not a bad football team. Their defense played pretty legit. Again, you held a P4 team to 218 yards through the air and 130 yards on the ground. You did your job, and you held them to 10 total points in this game, where a touchdown was scored by each team in the first quarter and then a field goal in the third, and that was it. That's pretty good for Kennesaw State, who's going to come in here hungry and believing that they can hang with a P4 team like Indiana. You got to find a way to put them out early if you're the Hoosiers. And again, we'll talk more on Friday's episode about what we want to see from Indiana, especially with some of the injury things on the defensive side of the football, and Fernando Mendoza and the run game, the offensive line, all of that type of stuff, because this is about Indiana But just keep your eye out on Kennesaw State. The Owls of Kennesaw State coming to Bloomington this weekend. Almost pulled off a P4 upset in week 1, and I guarantee they're looking to do it again in week 2. All right, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers. So we appreciate you being here again, making this your first listen or your first watch every single day. And if you're looking for more content, we got a free Substack. It's a newsletter. It can be emailed to you directly every single day, every single morning. Make sure that you go and sign up for that. We'll have the description or the link for that down in the description below on YouTube and on our audio platforms as well. So be sure you go and check it out. It's free. Subscribe to it. It'll get sent to you every single day. Okay. We are back tomorrow, Hoosier fans, for another episode. So until then, stay safe and I'll talk to you later.